Lit Live and Local is the Midday Diva AP. And you know what it is. It's not Thursday. Because, you know what, Gwen, I think because we're both such busy women. Yesterday afternoon, we both forgot. I get, but you know what? Taxes are dropping.
Taxes dropped yesterday.
That's why. So I know you are busy. Now, I have a question. I remember like the first year that after President Trump left, or was it the second year? It seemed like taxes were a little smaller, because y'all had to pay back that $1,200 you thought was free. But are they smaller this year in general, or larger? Are people getting a whole lot of money back, or?
They definitely ain't getting a whole lot of money back.
Yeah.
So, it just depends. I don't want to say that nobody's getting a lot of money back. It just depends on your tax situation. What we are seeing is a lot of more people, even more than last year, is owing, and their refunds are way smaller because the issue of not having any taxes withheld from their checks. Okay, so it's still a big problem with people not having zero taxes withheld.
But then they want a big refund.
But they definitely want a big refund. And people don't realize that your taxes withheld determines how much money you're going to get back. You do have the cases where people qualify for the different credits, like earned income tax credit. You might possibly qualify for some child tax credit. And, of course, you'll get that if you qualify for it. But when you talk about wanting huge refunds, the huge refunds come from the fact that you get all those credits and you meet your tax liability to where you get the taxes that you had withheld all year.
Right.
Back as well. And if you don't have any taxes withheld, especially for my single people, then you're gonna owe, or your refund is going to be way smaller than you expected.
Right. Because I know a person, they have a child, well, two children, one child in college now, and they only make like $50,000, but they don't get anything taken out all year. So they were shocked. They got a small refund, but they were expecting a huge refund. Didn't happen.
That's a good scenario because we have a lot of taxpayers like that may end the range of the $30,000 to $50,000 with one dependent, especially college age, and then they're having tax taken out.
You get extra for them being 17 and below, right?
Right. So you get child tax credit. So when they're older, you don't get really nothing but the other dependent credit, and then you might get the education credit if you qualify for it. That's a whole nother conversation. But yes, you only got one dependent. You are phased out of the earned income tax credit, which that's a big portion of people, big refunds, right? And you didn't pay any taxes. So now most of those type of people really do get very small refunds, or they owe. You have some scenarios that you might be okay, but in most cases you're gonna owe or get a small refund.
Right. Remember that when those kids get 18, it changed. Life changes.
It does. But if you're making anywhere over 30K, you need to have some taxes withheld regardless. Gotcha. A lot of times you might have some scenarios, very small scenarios, where you don't have to and you might still get a refund. But when you start to make over 30K, you cannot be around here not having taxes withheld, because people are like, oh, we're not meant to pay taxes. Yeah, you are. If the IRS say that you're going to have a tax liability when you file your taxes, so if you don't do nothing else, you need to make sure you're meeting your tax liability that you're going to have to pay the IRS, or you're going to owe. Period. And if you do get those credits, guess what those credits going towards? They're going to go towards that tax liability that the government say that you owe based off your income. So everybody don't have to pay taxes. If you under 30,000, in a lot of case scenarios, you really have and you got dependents, you really have a choice whether you want to pay taxes and still get a decent refund. Right. And I want to say, I say 30, but I want to really say definitely 20 and under. But if you make over that, then you get into the waters of, if you got dependents, you still might get a refund. You just might not get a big refund. Right. And that's the difference.
Now, what are some scenarios really quick that you may get a lower tax credit. That's one of the scenarios. These kids age out of your child tax credit. So people think just because you have a child, you get that. No, it's once that child turns 18, it's over. It's done.
Right. It ain't over and done. But what it is this. Depends on your income. If your income is low and you got an 18-year-old, you might possibly still qualify for earned income tax credit. You don't qualify for child tax credit, but you might qualify for earned income tax credit.
Child tax, that's the big one.
No,
earned income is the big one.
Earned income is the big one. Okay. And I think because of COVID, people started thinking that child tax credit was the big one because we had that 1 year that everybody got $3,000 per child, which started making their refunds humongous.
Right.
But that was only for that 1 year.
Right.
So they forgot about the earned income tax credit. The earned income tax credit is the bigger credit.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's based off your income, and if you got dependents, it will give you a decent refund. But child tax credit, you got to meet a tax liability. You have to make a minimal amount of income to even qualify. It's based on a percentage. So a lot of people assume that they get $2,000 per child when they file in. That is not the case. Some people get $2,000 per child. Some people don't. It's a non-refundable credit. That's a whole nother conversation. Then you got to qualify for the refundable portion. So it's just a lot to it that people don't understand. And we're out here trying to educate people about credits that we think we're supposed to get, but we really don't qualify for.
Right. So because everybody said, "Oh, my girlfriend got this," but your girlfriend's situation may be totally different than yours. Like all of my girlfriend's situations are totally different. And see, I'll put this out here. Last year, Gwen did one of my kids' taxes that made over $100,000 a year. She paid a lot of money in taxes,
right?
But she still. She got a small. She got a small refund. But she paid more in taxes than some people make in a year.
Absolutely, and that's a good point too, because she did get a refund. But people think if they make $100K or they make six figures, they're gonna have to owe or they can't get a refund. Taxes is based off your withholdings and what credits you qualify for. If you don't pay any taxes and you make a high income, you are going to owe because you are limited on certain tax credits that you might not qualify for. You might phase out of. Versus if you pay your withholdings, you can either break even because you don't have to give the government more money than you want to give them, but you do have to give them the money that they're requiring you to give them.
Right. Okay. See that, you know what? A lot of people don't realize that.
Yes.
When a lot of people who make a lot of money say, "Oh, I'm not going to get anything back." Now, had she tried to do her taxes herself, she probably wouldn't have got nothing back.
Right.
But that's why you need to go to a professional tax service. Now, with that, Gwen, tell them how to contact you.
So y'all can find me over there on the Macon Road behind the Dairy Queen Expert Tax Service, 3604 Macon Road, Suite 15. And if you don't want to come in the office, because nobody's really coming in the office no more, that's the truth. You can upload your information at www.experttaxservices.com, and expert is spelled XPERT.
Gwen, I'll see you next week.
See you next week, next Thursday at that.
Next Thursday. It's the Midday Diva on 98.3 The Beat. We'll put that in there because these folks think, I make a whole lot.